The Tag Historian in Ignition gives you the ability to quickly and easily store historical data for your tags to any SQL database, such as MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, and Oracle. All you need is a blank database. Ignition will automatically create the tables and log your data to the database. It will also provide efficient querying of that data on charts and tables. The historical tag values pass through the store and forward engine before ultimately being stored in the database, ensuring you don't lose any historical data. Options for partitioning and deleting old data help ensure that the system stays properly maintained with minimal extra work. Let's look at how we can set up tags to log to the historian. In the Designer in the Tag Browser, we can right-click on any tag and edit the tag to log it to the historian. We can select History on the left-hand side and say, yes, let's store history for this tag. Then we would select the database we want to log the information to, in this list here, in the History Provider. This list is all the connections we currently have configured in Ignition right now. So if I want to log it to the MySQL connection, I would simply select it here in the list. Now if that database is blank, Ignition will create the tables for us automatically and start logging the data. Then we select the scan class. The scan class dictates how often we're going to log the data to a database. So here, for example, I have default historical, which is going to log data every 10 seconds by default. Of course, you can select any scan class you create, as well as you can evaluate on change, which means only logs the value when they change. There's also a historical deadband setting, which is used to only log data when the next value falls outside of the deadband, meaning the value is plus or minus 0.01 in this case from the previous value. You can set the deadband to whatever you want. The larger the deadband, the smaller amount of data gets logged. The smaller the deadband, the more amount of data that gets logged. You could set this value here to 0, which would essentially log the values as they change. So in this case, if the value does not change in 3 days, Ignition will not log anything to a database. We want to keep the size of the database as small as possible. There's also historical deadband mode, which is either absolute or percent, which takes this value and it'll either do absolute plus or minus, or it'll do a percentage, like 10% change from the previous value. Then there's a value mode at the bottom, which is either analog or discrete, which dictates the type of value that the tag represents. So analog values like a temperature or a tank level should be set to the analog mode. Discrete values such as a machine state or a fault condition should be set to the discrete mode. We will look further into this mode in an upcoming lesson. So basically all we have to do is select yes on the tag, select the database we want to log it to, the scan class, configure our deadband as well as our value mode here, and then go ahead and press OK. You'll see as soon as I do that, there's a scroll icon to the right hand side of the tag letting me know it's stored in the historian. I can configure one or more tags here. So I can select the rest of my ramps. You can highlight multiple tags, right click edit, go to history, say yes, log to the connection, select the scan class, your modes and all of that, go ahead and press OK. Now you can see those tags are being logged to the historian. Of course I can go down to other folders here and go down to all my sign values, do the same thing, right click edit, go to history, say yes, select my database connection, select the scan class, deadband setting, value mode, and go ahead and press OK. So all of my values here are all analog values, that's why I selected that mode. That's basically it, and so we can configure Historian on one or more tags in Ignition just by going into the configuration.